But let's get down to our main feature match area here. Let's not jump the gun on the top 8 just yet, as we are going to have Justin versus DJ here. Justin on mono white humans, DJ on a very exciting Jund Midrange deck. We're going to see Recruitment Officer as the turn for Justin. You know,
yeah, I mean, there is a crowd for whom Jund Midrange is inherently exciting for a certain contingent of players. So we're very excited to see, black, red, and green cards all working in tandem here in the feature match area.
Yeah, as you know, we are going to see a Thoughtseize cast here for DJ, one of those Junji Ito ones. DJ holding the cards close, not letting us see. That's going to be Marks against DJ, but we'll power through it together as maybe he will lay the hand out. Looks like he's taking a big look-ski-poo at it. Also, if you're Justin, you've got to know something's up, right? You're playing stock mono white and you got the round 2 feature. Your opponent's they're onto something, you know? You got to be careful. As we are going to see Luminarch Aspirant be the take here for Justin. This very pretty mono white deck looks to be all foil. Love the style. It looks like it is going to be Coppercoat Vanguard, a new card from MTG Aftermath. Attacking in here for 3.
Yeah.
It's going to be +1/+0 and ward 1 to all other humans.
Yeah, that set has been out for about a week. Not easy to get foils of those cards just yet, but Justin is on top of it, maintaining what, as you say, seems to be fully foiled out mono white humans, which there are some decks in Pioneer which are easier to foil than others. I think it's safe to say maybe mono white, one of the easy ones, but still a very impressive achievement nonetheless. Real labor of love there. Yeah,
so DJ here has one of the Phyrexian forests that are all black, and then that is Deathrite Shaman, Dom. That is one of the things. DJ here is a Jund deck, and we have Deathrite Shaman, a card banned in a lot of formats in TJ's deck here. That's going to give him a good mana sink as the game goes on.
It's a card that you kind of forget exists unless you play Vintage from time to time, and the fact that it's legal in Pioneer, you always have to do this double take and think, wait, hold on a second. But yeah, it's legal. It's just tough to use in a format where you don't have as many fetch lands on demand as you can get your hands on. But 3 copies of Deathrite Shaman just livening up this Jund deck for DJ.
Yeah, and we are going to see a Skrelv get stomped here by DJ, and looks like both players stuck on 2 lands. Neither player able to double spell yet. DJ sort of not getting run over by the mono white is at 13, but isn't out of things yet, as we are going to see Justin go with a Hopeful Initiate and a passing of the turn. Looks like a pass back from DJ. Doesn't have any sort of sorcery speed answer he wants to use on that. As we're going to see a Dauntless Bodyguard, and with it on the stack, we're going to stomp down the Hopeful Initiate, make sure it's gone, and, we're 1 for 1 in all day. This is the Jund life, baby.
And Justin just presenting this steady stream of Mopey 1-drops, just hoping one of them will eventually stick and start getting to attack for damage here. So second Dauntless Bodyguard protecting the first, second verse, same as the first as well.
Yes, very much so. And DJ has a lot of really cool cards in deck, like Workshop War Chief, Questing Beast, Glissa Sunslayer, cards that will stabilize if DJ can get to them. But currently, DJ just doesn't have that mana to cast those cards, and we're seeing how having a deck full of cheap 1-drops can really go the distance here, as Justin plays a Hopeful Initiate and is just going to bash in for 2 here. Yeah, and DJ's at 7. We're getting dangerously close to lethal.
Yeah, DJ not really participating in this game that much. Not going to see any of the green cards really come into play to rescue him here. We do find the 3rd land at long last, so we're going to get to cast a 3-drop of some variety.
Yeah, it looks like DJ is tanking too. There are a lot of good ones here. We're missing Glissa Sunslayer as a card, and that's First Strike and Death Touch, so that's going to stop everything that comes down. We also, of course, have Fable the Mirror Breaker, Kolaghan's Command. Lots of good Jundy tools here for DJ, as DJ's taking a big think. And maybe is waiting to see... if it's a card like Kolaghan's Command, maybe DJ wants to wait, trying to grab something different. Maybe wants to play on Brave the Elements. A lot of different cards that Justin could be playing.
Yeah, Brave the Elements is a card that has fallen out of favor in these mono white decks a little bit. There's those flex slots are a bit more up for grabs now. You have more removal spells like Ossification. You have additional 2-drops you can play, like the Coppercoat Vanguard that we see in Justin's list. So that card has kind of been edged out, but you don't know for sure, right? Like, this isn't an open deck this tournament, so you always have to have that card at the back of your mind. But I think DJ in a position where you really can't play around anything. You just kind of have to play something, cross your fingers, and hope the best.
Yeah, and we are going to get the Fable token. That is going to be our Showdown winner. Every time you win one of these 10K Showdowns, you actually get an Inkling custom token made that we hand out. And this is the one from the team of Max, Connor, and Thea that's Fable the Mirror Breaker. Looks like Justin did draw the third land for turn, so figuring out exactly what he wants to do, lining up like, okay, if I attack, you block like this. How much damage am I pushing? Should I activate a Mutavault? Am I willing to lose a land to push some damage? Lots of different choices here for Justin, as it looks like we're going to tap 3 mana, and we're going to play Adeline. Resplendent Cathar. And
so this is not lethal exactly, but that 2/2 is going to have to jump in front of something. It can survive by blocking the human, but then DJ's down to 1 and has to deal with literally every card that's in play currently. So really tough spot. I think we're going to go to a game 2 here pretty shortly.
And it looks like DJ is just going to pick it up. Knows he doesn't have any sort of wrath in his main deck, and Mono White did its thing. It got a fast start on the board, and both players sort of missed on land drops, and we sort of saw like, okay, if my deck's full of 1 and 2 mana cards, I can afford to miss here, and sometimes I double spell, and DJ had sort of a bigger mid-range deck, wasn't able to do that here. So unfortunately for DJ, is going to be down a game, but that's why we made game 2 and 3, Dom. So you can pull out your sideboard, sort of get the tools you want. And we're going to take a look at those in a second and see if DJ has something for this mono white matchup.
And he's got quite a few different things, it looks like, and even branching into green, some of those green cards going to do some for him as well, as long as he can cast them, which we saw in the first game is no guarantee.
Yep. Yeah, even with cards like Death Threat Shaman, they are so strong in turn formats because the fetch line's a little worse here. Speaking of Death Threat Shaman, let's see what this deck has. DJ has 2 Scavenging Ooze, 2 Abrupt Decay, 2 Assassin's Trophy, 2 Anger of the God, 2 Reclamation Sage, 2 Hubson Baloth, 2 Duress, and 1 Liliana the Last Hope. Dom, if you're a DJ, what are you bringing in?
Well, I like the Liliana, I like the Anger of the Gods, I like these Obstinate Balos, another card which you kind of forget is legal in Pioneer, but as of Brothers War, in fact, is a card you can put in your Pioneer deck, so we expect to see those coming in. And then I think I also like the Scavenging Uses, just as you trade off your removal spells for their creatures, that's a card which can become the biggest threat on the board and also give you that crucial life buffer to stabilize. Yeah,
that all makes sense. Let's check out what Justin has here. What sort of mono white spices in their sideboard. We have 4 wedding announcement. The 3 Brutal Cathars, these are in the sideboard this weekend. Sort of a change of pace from normal. 2 Rest in Peace, 2 Containment Priest, 2 Portable Hole, and 2 Reidane, the God of Worthy. Dom, if you're Justin, what are you doing?
Yeah, it turns out in a mono white deck, you have less sideboard options to choose from. So a more kind of mainstream, streamlined sideboard here. I think it's just the wedding announcements and then calling it a day.
Yeah, it makes sense to me. That card's sort of the thing that you traditionally bring in for Rakdos midrange. They have all the kill spells here, sort of lets you go wide, and the only thing that can really stop it is, either a fast block from your opponent or a Wrath. And we saw here only some Anchor of the Gods for DJ, which is, not going to be enough to really stop the bigger creatures, and enough wedding announcements actually invalidate an Anger of the Gods. So might be one of the most crucial cards there. So we're going to have to see exactly how Justin and DJ do want to approach this matchup, as they are still shuffling up here for game number 2. Really quick, though, we do have some more events coming up in the future I wanted to let you all know about. If you're liking this and you want to go out and play one, we have an event in Chicagoland, June 24th and 25th. It's a Saturday Modern Showdown 10K. Winner of that event is going to get an Inkling custom token and a spot into our end-of-the-year final for the series here. And then Sunday is a Legacy 5K trial. If you love Legacy, we love you. Come out and play. And then our next event, actually, is a team event over in St. Louis on July 8th and the 9th. That's a 10K team showdown, Modern, Pioneer, Legacy, and then a Legacy 5K trial on Sunday. So if you're a big Legacy head, we've got you covered here on the NRG series. Make sure to come and check out those events here coming up. And then there's one more, but we're going to be back in the future match here. We're going to have to tell you that other one later. It's in Detroit. That's all I'll say for now.
Yes, no smiley faces for the opening hands this time around, and yeah, we're going out to Detroit August 12th and 13th. So keep that weekend free, and that's our reigning champion Steven Dyquin, #1 on our leaderboard. That's his neck of the woods, and a lot of people, some of the Swiss gaming team, a lot of the Michigan crowd coming out to these events, and that will be their home turf. So we'll see if they can defend that there.
Yeah, along those lines too, Roger Suleiman from that area as well. That's our NRG Series champion from last year. So A lot of big heat coming out from that area if you want to play against the best. That's where to go. So we're just going to see a Stomping Ground pass, a Plains pass, a Den of the Bugbear pass. We're just passing back and forth as a Mutavault comes down. And this is the turn. You know, Justice deck has a lot of powerful 2-drops. We cut a Brutal Cathar from the main deck to make room for these Coppercoat Vanguards. And now it's kind of the spot, as we can see him, as a Thalia Heretic Cathar comes down. Oh, sorry, it's Thalia Guardian Thraben, my mistake.
Yeah. There we go. A nice lineup there against potential Storm from DJ. Looks like did not have access to that. And we see this mana situation coming into play for DJ again, where game 1, we're stuck on 2 lands. Here, we're stuck on essentially a Gruul mana base the first 2 turns. Finally finds, I want to say that's an Overgrown too, but these expeditions really putting us to the test.
Yep. As we're going to see Justin here play Coppercoat Vanguard. That's going to make it very hard to kill this Thalia if you don't have an answer right now. As Thalia attacks him for 3. I will say Justin has the very awkward 3 lands wedding announcement in hand, but it's probably okay with that as long as the board isn't getting answered. And right now, it's going to be very hard to spot removal down this Thalia.
Yeah, Thalia or Mina Harker, I believe that specific one is. So I don't know how up to date you are on the Dracula lore, but if you are, then I'm sure that reference makes more sense to you than it does to me.
It makes a lot of sense. You know, she's actually one of the vampire hunters from the Van Helsing family against Dracula. As a huge Vampire Diaries fan, obviously I would know this, Dom. Don't be silly as Shefet Dunes comes down for the turn.
I mean, I know, of course. I just wanted to make sure that you knew.
Oh yeah, and I get that too. You know, like the British are very, you know, they know their stories and their history and everything, as do the Canadians. So every part of you has to put me to the test, and I'm glad that I could, you know, clear that bar immensely, just like Vampire's Diaries cleared the amazing storytelling they did. As we are going to see Justin sort of tanking here, because, you know, we could maybe double spell or play one of our handmaker cards like Wedding Announcement, but Shieldred is going to force us to do something, as Luminarch Aspirant seems to be the play. And actually, we're getting dangerously close to our Thalia being able to attack through the Shieldred.
Yeah, not easy to do. You need 4 separate humans kind of teaming up to make that possible. But Shieldred very good at kind of invalidating entire boards by itself. But as you mentioned, we finally get Thalia to that crucial 5-power threshold here with a Luminarch Aspirant, a Coppercoat Vanguard, and a Thalia's Lieutenant working with Thalia herself to let that one attack her.
Yeah, all we need now is a Piper and a Pear Tree to finish it up, as Justin is going to attack for 5 first strike. And DJ's learning creatures have a low fail rate. Also, DJ not at 20 life. I believe DJ is at 17 life from our attack with Thalia the turns prior. But going to drop down here to 12, I believe. And a passing of the turn back. DJ going to gain 2. Should probably get 14. Old
nice
Shieldred.
Foil Shieldred, it looks like. Yeah, not quite holding a candle to Justin's all foiled out mono white human deck, but nice little Foil Shieldred, a nice $100 bill there for you.
Yeah, speaking of can't hold a candle, Anger of the Gods comes down. This is where Coppercoat Vanguard being, you know, half a lord really comes up, right? A lot of players noted it doesn't give +1/+1, it gives +1/+0 in ward. So there is some protection, but when it comes to Anger of the Gods, not enough there. Shieldred slams in. Justin's going to lose 2 life from that trigger here. And we are in a rough spot now, Dom.
Yeah, and Anger of the Gods, the card which, again, is legal. You can put it in your deck, but not really on your radar these days. The Rakdos decks typically don't have many speakers, or if they do, it's stuff like Ritual Absurd, Extinction Event, these 4-mana options. So Anger of the Gods maybe coming out of left field here, but definitely ideal in this situation.
Yeah, and Justin here, he's taking a think here. Has the cards like Wedding Announcement in hand, I believe. But it's going to look to maybe double spell this turn with Luminarch Aspirant into Luminarch Aspirant. Okay, yeah. That's a good reason not to, you know, getting Wedding Announcement. Just get a real board presence here and maybe try to go around the Thalia or hope to draw one of your main deck Ossifications. So we're going to see Shieldred gain 2. And, you know, Justin doesn't know exactly what's going on with DJ's deck, right? We saw Deathrite Shaman, some cards that look like Rakdos. You know it's Jund, obviously, but you don't know what the green's for. As Lily on the Veil here from DJ comes down. I'm going to take a second here to think about how we wanted to tap our mana. But, you know, we're definitely minusing. Nothing wrong with a little, you know, shortcut happening. As we do see Croxa off one of these sweet, sweet Phyrexian swamps. Dom, where do you
Crooks
fall
are
on
not.
these oil swamps, these oil lands?
I'm not a fan. If I had to rank these alongside basically any other basic lands, these would be right at the bottom. But this is the beauty of Magic, right? You can customize your deck however you want, and these apparently speak to a lot of people because we've seen these on coverage quite a bit over the past few shows.
They really have, and it speaks to me in an angry way. But we're gonna see Justin here play Thalia's Lieutenant, grow the team up.
Are
Figure out
you-
where we're gonna put the Luminarch.
Are you an angry guard, Mason?
I am normally pretty cool about all the customization. I will just say that even in person, I have a hard time playing against these cards where knowing exactly what they are. I think if your deck's monocolor, I don't mind, but the moment your deck's 2 colors, I'm like, come on, give me a break. As we're gonna see Fable the Mirror Breaker come on down here.
Yeah, normally it's just a personal objection to these lands, but now that we're in the booth, this is a professional objection. We get to operate on all of these different levels.
That's right. As we're going to see, they're going to tick up, lose the Blood Crypt here for DJ. Has some other card they want to hold in hand. I do think that we should have one more land tapped because there's a Thalia in play. I know it looks like not Thalia, but it is. So we're going to get that taken care of course. It probably won't end up mattering, but we'll have someone go down there and do that.
Thalia cleverly disguised as Mina Harker once again.
Yep. Professional vampire hunter, obviously.
Now, Justin, thinking, okay, what do I protect with my Vanguard? Or with my Bodyguard, excuse me? And then where do I put the counter from Luminarch Aspirant? Really, ideally, you want to get something that can attack into that shielded.
Yeah. And it looks like, all right, we're gonna get our Thalia's Lieutenant trigger. We're gonna resolve that part. And then I think Dauntless Bodyguard, I think he did point to Thalia. And it looks like he is shooting up the Thalia too. So that all makes sense. When it comes to getting that going in. Justin is losing some life every turn to the Shieldred. So, right now he has a 4-turn clock on him. But at some point Shieldred could start attacking. So Justin needs to start thinking about, okay, how am I going to do this? How are we getting out of here? Seems like he's... All right, well, we need to get a judge involved. We cannot cycle this land because we had a Thalia in play. We tried to get someone down there to the booth.
Yeah, we're going to see if we can get on pause real quick. And yeah, this looks like a stalled battlefield, right? Like you have these creatures staring at each other across the red zone there. But Shieldred puts a clock on that, right? Every single turn. Justin is falling further and further behind. DJ's getting further and further ahead. And so Justin has to make something happen pretty soon here.
Yeah, it looks like the judge is getting involved here real quick. Last turn, we accidentally only tapped 3 mana for our Fable the Mirror Breaker underneath Thalia. It looks like we're going to actually let the judge know real quick as, the new rules updated. I don't know if the judge can hear me. Hey, judge. So our opponent played the Fable the Mirror Breaker player, played Fable, but forgot to pay the Thalia tax and then used 3 mana to cycle. And so all the mana was used, but it wasn't supposed to be used because Fable should have cost 4 mana. So that was the sort of mistake happening here. Hopefully our judge will go and talk to the players. Y'all can't hear the judge. Yeah, they're going to go converse with them. There's an update to the rules a couple years back, Dom, it used to be, that here in commentary, we couldn't talk to judges and things like that. And you couldn't use coverage as a thing to sort of enforce rulings. But since they weren't exactly sure, they had the judge come and talk to us for a second and let us know what's going on. So the judge is sort of talking to the players. They're going to figure out exactly what happened. Make sure that we didn't miss something. Sometimes here in the booth, we can miss, a shorthand of a treasure or something little like that. But for the most part, looks like this is going to take care of it. And it's probably just going to be a warning here for these players for failure to maintain game state. I'm no judge, but I have failed to maintain game state a time or two. I don't know about you, Dom.
My game stays are always immaculate and pristine. I don't know what you're talking about. But luckily, even if we don't catch it ourselves, we have 500 of you watching along with us who, between, those 500 pairs of eagle eyes, someone out there is going to catch it, and we can let the judge know and then let the players know and get that sorted out.
Yep. And, honestly, probably just a small little mistake here. 99.9% of people are, playing Magic fair, clean heads up. And mistakes happen. These sort of things do occur, and it's something that can happen to anybody. And it's just part of the whole thing. As it does looks like both players did sort of forget that ability on the game. Let's come back to the booths real quick here, because it does look like the judge is going to take a second, and we can talk about some other stuff. No reason just to be staring at that board. It's two foil, by the way. I love the bling, but for the sake of commentary, like we're talking about the past lands, I just can't see anything. It's just all bright lights,
Yeah, and DJ mixing it up for us too. We got those Phyrexian oil slick lands. We got the what is it? The module Den of the Bugbear. Got a foil Children, and then some foil lands here, some non-foil lands here. So yeah, DJ putting it to the test, but I think we've passed with flying colors so far.
Yeah, we've been doing really good, Dom. Not to pat ourselves on the back too much, but I think we haven't had the Triome test yet, but we've been on top of it with everything, So I'm pretty proud of us. People on commentary sometimes they mess it up.
We had the Triumph test right there. DJ cycling A.
Oh, Zia Torres Proving Ground. Zia Torres.
There we go. There it is.
Yeah, I'm a professional. All right. I get paid bucks. Okay. Let the record show. So.
Okay. We had a Ruffine's Tower in the feature match last round. God only knows when a Jetmir's Garden is going to show up.
Yeah. Do not get me started on the Spars headquarters. Like, whew, what's going on there? Here's a question for you, Dom. How do you feel about, because we have a new thing with Magic, right? So like with the Godzilla lands, we saw with the Godzilla card, we saw where like a card is Godzilla, Mecha Godzilla, but then it really is underneath, it had like its actual name, right? So what if when we go back to a Lara or something in the future, we just call it Bant Triome, and then underneath it's Spara's headquarters? Does that sound like a secret layer to you?
Honestly, we don't need to wait to go back to Alara in 2027 or whatever. We can do that right here, right now. We can make it happen.
That's true. That's the power of secret layer. So you know what? I think Watsy just had some great ideas. We've been kind of giving it to them. Last round we told them about the flying cat. This round we got this going. As it looks like our judge call is being resolved right now at the table. We'll let y'all know exactly what the ruling is on that when it occurs here. This should be finished in a minute. But yeah, a lot of cool stuff going on there. Dom, there's a couple decks in Pioneer at the beginning of the show we were talking about that, are sort of popping up and players are sort of getting excited about. And now might be a good time to talk about them. Doomwake has been really promoting the sort of Boros, Convoke, Bushwhacker deck. What are your sort of thoughts on this deck? And give a quick rundown for someone if they haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, it's a really exciting new deck that's the talk of the town at the moment. So this is using the two big Convoke payoffs. You've got the Wise Elephant, Venerated Loxodon, and also the new Knight Errant of Eos, 4 and a white. And then once you convoke it out, you look at the top 6, and you can find features with CMC equal to or less than the number of creatures that convoked it, which in this deck, you can get it up to 5. You can just cast that thing for free pretty easily. And so we to get that initial setup of tokens, we're using stuff like Gleeful Demolition on our own Ornithopter. Jumping through some hoops to make it work. But this can build a very wide board and also a very tall board with a Loxodon. And then you have these explosive turns with Reckless Bushwhacker, making your whole team bigger, giving it more haste. So you can really cause some fireworks, and hopefully we get to see the deck do that on camera. The big question is, does it do that consistently enough? Does it do it well enough in the face of disruption to have some staying power and not just be, this kind of a one-trick pony, which is all over Twitter this week and then it's kind of disappeared by next week?
Yeah, for sure. And it is going to be interesting sort of seeing, like, putting 1-mana cards in your deck is such a easy ask of players, right? 1-mana cards can be so impactful. They have such a low value, so they're easy to play, and then getting these Convoke synergies off them really actually kind of grows with their strength. So it's going to be interesting to see sort of, okay, right now we have these sort of 1-mana creatures, but, like, is it better to have, maybe a Giant Killer and more of those cards, or maybe you want to have more like Ornithopters or less Ornithopters. There's a lot of different ways you can take the deck. But yeah, it's gonna be really interesting to see, and be really cool to see, at the RCs and our events here. We have a couple players in the event today playing that deck. A couple of them are 1-0, so that's really exciting. If they keep it up, we'll probably see them on camera. But yeah, there's some pretty cool stuff there. All right, what about Rona combo, Dom? This is the deck everyone's sort of talking about. It's the new inverter. What's going on? What are we doing?
Yeah, so there are a few different ways you can do this. So we're using Rona, Herald of Invasion, a new card from Martin Machine. So it's 2 mana. It's a looter, essentially. It just taps, draw a card, then discard a card. You can pay 5 and effectively to transform it into some like big, horrifying thing on the backside. But the crucial line of text here is whenever you cast a legendary spell, you get to untap Rona. And so if you have a way to graft some other ability that taps onto it, well, now you can potentially use that ability several times in a turn. And so we're using that with Retraction Helix, a card which gives that creature the ability to tap to bounce a permanent to its owner's hand and Mox Amber. So we're effectively bouncing and then recasting the Mox Amber, which untaps the Rona to bounce the Mox Amber again, and just keep going with that. That's going to get us infinite mana, and then we can transform Rona, we can loot a bunch of times. We're off to the races there. And then that core is pretty flexible, right? So it's a mono blue combo. So you can slot that into a Jeskai shell with cards like Jeskai Ascendancy and Emery and some other backup combos. We have Sarah Shearing, number 2 on our leaderboard, playing against that this round. And then we also have these Soul Tie-less cards like Tyvar, which is another kind of exciting build around we saw recently. And then the usual Thoughtseize, Fatal Push, interact cards to kind of buy you time to stitch that combo together. So it's an exciting concept and lots of ways you can build around it and flesh that out, and hopefully we get to see some of that on camera this weekend as well.
Awesome. We're heading back to our feature match area to see sort of what's happened. Looks like what's going to happen. Interesting. All right, so it was a GRV was handed out, and we're actually rewinding the game state to the point of error. So what it looks like, from the sake of us as the viewers, is this DJ is going to have one more land tapped. We're not going to be able to cycle the Triumph, and Justin here is going to get a chance to cast Dauntless Bodyguard again, assign everything, and we're just going to pick it up from there. So able to get a fix there going on, and making sure the life totals are correct. But basically, for the sake of the viewers at home and everyone, Justin's going to end up doing the same things, because it's not like Justin, really gained any information really, except there's a Triumph in hand. But Justin kind of knew that nothing could be cast because of Thalia before, and DJ is just going to be one card not as deep in deck. And so, since the card in hand was the Triumph and sort of everything going on, it doesn't really change too much here, is my understanding. And we draw the Dauntless Bodyguard, we lose the life, we're back in the same spot. It's like, let's do the time warp again sort of situation.
Yeah, we're doing the twist again like we did last summer, and now we're doing it once again here, and hopefully going to reach a different outcome this time.
Yeah, so we are going to have Dauntless Bodyguard. Justin now, does get a chance. We saw him tank on it last turn, and it was a big decision. He gets another chance to do so here. Looks like he is going to remember Thalia Lieutenant Trigger again. And I imagine, if you're Justin in this spot, you got to stick with your gut. You figured it out the first time it was Thalia. It's probably still Thalia. And the same for the Luminarch Aspirant Trigger. And it looks like we're in the same spot as we were before. We're going to see a pass back to DJ. We all know DJ has the old Triumph in hand. So DJ is going to go up to 20 and then going to activate the Fable of the Mirror Breaker's trigger. I'm gonna call a shot in the dark here, Dom. We might see that land get discarded and draw a new card. It looks like, 2 lands off the top, and we're going to discard both of them, draw 2, gain 4 life.
Yeah, that land getting discarded to draw a card one way or another. Don't actually have to pay mana for it this time around.
Do you think there's ever a world where you hold priority and cycle the Triumph to gain 2 more? Like maybe if you had a little less life?
Oh, I mean, that's a very valid possibility. I think here, though, DJ just wants to find spells and have the mana to cast those spells, and it looks like we have a Bloodtithe Harvester joining the party here.
Yep. Yeah, and also you saw that wedding announcement in the graveyard for Justin there. That got discarded because of Liliana on an earlier turn. We missed that. But we're going to see Justin fall down to 6 here. As DJ played a Bloodtithe Harvester. And, Justin drew the 5th land. Good for activating Castle Ardenvale. That will grow the Thalia's Lieutenant. But I think Justin just doesn't have the time to pull out of this. DJ has so much life. Even if we drew a Brave the Elements every single turn, I don't know if we could actually race this clock.
Yeah, you see Justin just head in the hand, just thinking like, Shieldred has to die somehow because we're not dealing 24 before Shieldred does the last 6 points, and with Shieldred still there, going to be hard to attack into it. So I think it might be Ossification or bust. If we find Ossification, then I think we actually do have a game again. But that's what we have to do. That's the first step.
Yeah, and I like this from Justin here. He's not giving up. He's like you just mentioned, Dom. I can draw Ossification, kill this Shieldred. I'm just going to attack in and get my points and, sort of start chip-shotting DJ. If I'm going to win this game, I need to get shots in now. I have these tokens. I can chump block some stuff. So, force DJ to do something. DJ does have Den the Bugbear. So DJ can maybe get a little frisky here, with an activation of that and try and chip-shot down Justin. But we'll have to see how DJ wants to approach it, as he is tapping a bunch of mana for Kolaghan's Command. Looks like we're going to shoot Thalia's Lieutenant, and then looks like he's going to be buying back a card. We're buying back Kroxa. Looks like Justin's going to activate his Castle Ardenvale. That's going to make a token and grow the Thalia's Lieutenant up to a 3/3 and survive the Kolaghan's command.
But yeah, the Kroxa against an empty hand, that's a guaranteed 3 damage right there. Getting even closer to just finishing Justin off.
Yeah, I think if we have a swamp or a mountain in hand, we can actually play Kroxa, bring back Kroxa, because we do have a forest in play right now. But, like you mentioned, just on the empty hand, we'll see what DJ decides to do. It looks like DJ's double checking, like, yep, I still have 5 cards. I've, cycled and drawn a bunch this game. Let's make sure I have my mana real quick before I do anything silly. Plays the Kroxa, the new Universal Legends. Oh, it looks like one of those lands is a swamp. It's just hard to tell. I thought it was a forest. That's on me. You know what? Actually, it's not on me, Dom. That's on whoever greenlit those lands. I'm not holding responsibility for these.
Give you a pass on that one.
Yeah.
Yes.
I normally, I'm kind of someone who's like, hey, it's our job to commentate. Let's learn all these things. But when they're just pitch black, that's not on me. That's on them. I will say those for swamps, kind of dope though, because they are just like, hey, this land is black. You get the idea. We need more mismatching basics in life. That's what I'm getting to.
Okay. The issue there though is if it's Phyrexian in oil state planes, also black. So at some point that rubric kind of breaks down a little bit, but for now it'll be fine.
For now, it's good. But you see, what I like about it is if you're playing a deck that's like has a bunch of swamps and those are your only swamps, your opponent really knows you have a swamp in play. Because like, what's that black square over there? And you're like, oh, it's my swamp. And they're like, oh, I get it. So now we just need the white version, the green, the black, and the red. So easy game. We just got those done. Speaking of easy game, we are going to have to see these players go back to their sideboards. Maybe we want to check out DJ's sideboard again. A little play draw situation might be going on as we wait here for these players to shuffle up. Once again, just in case you can't see it here, Scavenging Ooze, Abrupt Decay, Assassin Trophy, Anger of the Gods, Rex Sage, Opposite Bailoff, and Duress are all 2-ups for DJ, and then 1 Lily on the Last Hope. Dom, I'm not exactly sure if I change anything up, but I know I want Lily on the Last Hope the more I see of this deck. Coppercoat Vanguard, all these little X1s running around. I want to blow them up.
Oh, yeah, just want to shoot those down. You could argue for stuff like Abrupt Decay, just another good flexible removal spell that does also hit Ossification, which we mentioned that game. Like, if Justin had found Ossification, that might have been the thing that got him back into it. So I could see those coming in as well. I was frankly shocked to see Kroxa still in the deck in these post-Sideboard games. That's a card which doesn't really affect the board early, and to even get it on the board and have it stick around, a lot has to go right. You need a lot of time. That would be one of my first cards, I think. But DJ obviously thinks differently.
Yeah, maybe DJ on the play thought it was okay to have a Kroxa just as a 1-up and something, I can play on turn 2, sort of get a card from their hand, where maybe, DJ has plans to save that card as a way to clear out Brave the Elements type cards. We are playing with perfect information when we're talking to y'all. We know that Justin here has no Brave the Elements. DJ doesn't. DJ's playing against mono white. He might have plans that involve doing that. So yeah, I'm with you. I think Kroxa would have been one of my early cuts, but it might just be a play draw situation. Also, it just occurred to me, Dom, that Bonecrusher Giant, the unbeatable 2-for-1, out of these red-black decks against mono white, now can get minus from Lily on the Last Hope and pick back up again. So it can really just get maximum value here as our players are drawing their hands up for game number 3.
Yeah, Liliana is a nice one here. You can sacrifice your Blood Tithe Harvester to kill something, and then minus and just get back the Harvester again, get another blood token out of all of that. So if they kill your Shieldred, well, Shieldred's coming back for a second shot. So really sweet card. And yeah, if you think you're going to be playing these kind of a longer, grindier games, Liliana is phenomenal at those.
Let's see here, as we are going to see a Recruitment Officer off in Eiganjo.
Yeah, 14 1-drops in Justin's deck, so no surprise to see him have one on turn 1 here.
Yeah, and something we've seen from some players is the new Knight Errant of Eos that we talked about before with Convoke, and Justin choosing not to play that card this weekend instead of have Coppercoat and sort of go wide very quickly, but a lot of different ways to sort of play these things. As we are going to see DJ here, he's going to Fatal Push the Recruitment Officer, leave the Luminarch Aspirant in play after the target. Save himself some life.
Yeah, had the Fatal Push on 1. We'll see if he has the removal spell on 2 to really kind of keep up and bridge to the mid game here.
That one's a mountain. It's red in the middle.
I will take your word for that. Let's see.
That's red. Let's see. Wait, hang on. This
Okay, well,
it's 2 mountains in his deck. He has 2 mountains. Okay, they're definitely possible. Oh, and we Bonecrusher. Okay, that's definitely a mountain. Nice. All right. Looks like we have a recruitment officer into a Den of the Bugbear. I wonder what DJ do for turn. Last turn he played a mountain. This turn he played a den. Probably no way to know is that is a secret lair scavenging ooze.
yes, it is.
Don't worry, Dom. I got you. My brain can't remember my social security number to save my mother's life, but by God, I know that's a scavenging ooze the moment it comes down. That's what you see into the Luminarch Aspirant coming in. And
remember, if you had to make a guess at your social security number, what would that be? Just on the off chance you remember it.
Yeah. So it's going to be 4-1. As we pass the turn. I tried to think of that song where it's like getting Stacy's mom number or whatever, but I couldn't remember the lyrics to it. So instead, here we are. Glissa Sunslayer comes down. This is an exciting one from All Be One. A card that players have been really trying to work into the format. It's very powerful, but just hasn't quite found the home yet.
Stacy's mom has gone going on, and so does Glissa Sunslayer, which you often see it in the sideboard of some of these combo decks, actually, like the Neoform decks or even Greasefang, where if you just want some alternate threat that can run away with the game by itself, maybe blow out some hate cards, doesn't use the graveyard itself, like Glissa just kind of does a little bit of everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's 8675309, apparently, is what it was. Twitch chat, let me know. Thank you, Twitch chat. We do see Brutal Cathar came in for Justin. Yeah, I was curious, game 1, Justin sort of didn't see many creatures, and then you assume it's a gem deck, and green good for creatures.
Got to make sure DJ does play black and green for the Glissa there. Got some mana-based funkiness going on.
Oh, yeah, we accidentally tapped 2 mountains instead of the forest. I don't know. We can let the judge know these things happened. Maybe they want to issue a warning. The card was definitely possible to be cast. All right, yeah, we need to get a judge involved again, I guess, because we once again failed to maintain game state, and this sort of thing happened. We will get a judge involved. I'm sure our producer is taking care of it. And these things can happen, and this is why you should, buy responsibly with your promos. If you're going to buy your promos, by the way, go to nrgstore.com, baby. Pick up some there. We've got great deals. Iziatora Proving Ground coming in. I immediately passed the Triumph test, as we do see a Bonecrusher Giant being here. And luckily,
this is why it helps if you look at your lands, your basic lands, you can tell what type of basic land it is, and therefore what color it can tap for. That's actually I look for my basics, but not everyone agrees. That's okay.
Yep, and I'm sure a judge is, by the way, coming over there. I see Twitch chat sort of talking about it. Don't worry, we're on top of it. This is also a pretty easy fix. We're just going to have DJ not gain a life, and his creature would still have created with the Recruitment Officer, and that Luminarch Aspirant will be in the graveyard for a future one. So this is going to be a really easy fix. Don't worry, chat. Yeah, it looks like the judges here, they're sort of checking about the thing. That's that hand you see right there. What happened is, if the judge needs our story, Glissa Sunslayer was paid off 2 mountains instead of the Shockland. Looks like the judge is coming over. Yeah. So we're going to once again tell the judge what happened since hey, Judge. So, for the people at home and for you, what happened is on turn 4, we used Mountain Overgroom to cast a Glissa Sunslayer, which is a black-green card. And then we used the green to activate Scavenging Ooze to gain a life and exile the creature from the graveyard. Nothing really changed outside of that. It should have just been, 1 less life for old DJ here and the card back in the graveyard. That's the only thing that really mattered. But we just thought we should let you know. They traded, the 2 creatures traded in combat, but whether the creature had got the +1/+1 counter or not, it still would have traded in combat. It was a 3/2 versus a 2/2. Yep. Thank you so much, Judge. And, now the judge gets to hear that. We're going to take care of it. Once again, these sort of things happen. And, people make honest mistakes. Sometimes people get a little anxious playing future matches as well. That could be sort of what's happening here. Looks like it was just oopsie poopsie, as we say in the business. Dom, I know you're thinking right now about all the times you said oopsie poopsie. So you don't have to back me up on that.
Yeah, it's a very common British saying, and I do my best to spread that wherever possible. So yeah, we had a little oopsie poopsie here in the feature match area, but hopefully not again.
Yeah, and it sort of happens, and this is one of the things that you need to be diligent about when you're playing paper. Honestly, like we said before, 99.9, and I think in the case of DJ here, it's just an accidental error, nothing malicious going on. But we do want to be on top of these sort of things and play good, clean Magic. Right, but the secret is that not a mountain in play. There were 2 mountains used for the Glissa. So I'm sorry, I'm talking to the judge again, which probably shouldn't be how we do these things on coverage, but it is what we're doing right now. We can talk to them later, but we did use 2. Either we used 2 mountains or we cheated on turn 2. There is no in between. Something happened where we have messed up what was going on. We are aware that's a forest. It's because Glissa Sunslayer requires both black and green to cast. Yep. Sure. Let's continue to play. We'll pass it along to the judge, and they can make sure to make a note of it in the future. Probably won't end up mattering. Twitch chat following at home with our good friend Richard Nixon from the last event, running for another NRG top 8 this weekend, which I did present. As we do see Kolagon's command with the Shatter on Skrelv and the Shotgun Luminarch Aspirant, that's going to be huge. As Fable the Mirror Breaker is also the follow-up. That's a swing turn for DJ. Dom, what are your thoughts here on how Justin can get out of this?
It's tough. I mean, so in theory, Recruitment Officer can provide a stream of action. You activate that, but in practice, you're activating that. That's taking up your whole turn, and then you need to find these very specific threats to just compete with what's going on the board, let alone what DJ might draw. So it's tough. It's really difficult to break serve from these spots as the Mono White Humans deck.
Yeah, and that's one of the things about this deck, right? Is that how do I say it? It's like when you are playing the white deck, you're sort of getting on board early, and if you fall too far behind, you have a few cards that can catch you back up. You have things like Thalia and stuff like that, but they require you to have a board state, and that's why these Rakdos matchups have been so hard. Is that even though this is Jund, very similar, they have spot removal and creatures, so they can sort of invalidate your creatures, with something like a Bonecrusher Giant there that can just block or whatever and eat a lot of your creatures in combat, and also, double up as kill spells. So it's going to be very big here as we see DJ sort of going. As we are going to see, 4 mana. That's normally Shieldred, but this time it's Questing
Beast.
Yes, the Beast is released. Now, Dom,
we got a reader. We got a reader.
Yes, we do. And so, Vigilance, Haste, Death Touch, can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less. And hang on, I'm closing my eyes to make sure Dom can cover me here. And then when it deals damage to a player, it deals that much damage to all the Planeswalkers. Did I nail it? Did I get all the lines? I think I did.
That sounds about right. Yeah, but whenever my opponent plays a Questing Beast, I always pick it up and read it again, just in case some new line of text has snuck its way in there since I last checked.
Yeah, honestly, I can't imagine being a historic player against that card with the erratas that happen. You'll never know. You'll never know what's going to happen. As we are going to see a Lily on the Veil come down and minus here using the treasure token from Fable of the Mirror Breaker. Looks like Justin's figuring out, do I want this Skrelv to protect a future threat / my Brutal Cathar has this Glissa Sunslayer. I do not want Justin getting backward. I want to get this Recruitment Officer. As we are going to see a pass back here. I'm going to assume we had a little attack for 4 there since it was a clean attack, but it's hard to know. Sometimes players just say, attack and pass, these sort of things when you have Vigilance and Haste. And it looks like we are going to flip over to nighttime here for Justin. Ooh, that's my werewolf.
That's a pretty tame werewolf you got there, Mason.
Well, the problem is I didn't want to be loud in the people's ear. I kind of wanted to pop off a little, but I was worried, I'm insecure about my loudness, Dom. As we are
we'll get some drinks in you one time, and you can let loose a really hearty aru for the fans at home.
That's right. Twitch chat still let me know it's target planeswalker, not all planeswalkers. That's the MH2 version of Questing Beast that does all planeswalkers, obviously. As we are going to see. Looks like we're just adjusting something. I thought maybe the Brutal Cathar was dying there, but it's like, now for what it's worth, DJ can't really attack because this backside of Brutal Cathar is a 4/4 with first strike. So, Questing Beast, a lot going on. Not very good against 4/4 first strike. So DJ, in an awkward position where wants to maybe flip it back, but doesn't, because then Brutal Cathar answers the Questing Beast anyway. So weird spot to be as Shieldred the Apocalypse comes down. You see Justin sort of nod his head like, yeah, that is not what I was looking for. As Recruitment Officer, this is one of the few ways Justin can come back. We mentioned before, you fall behind. And looking at the top 4 cards of the deck here, as Adeline, Resplendent Cathar, is the flying here for Justin. And you know what the good thing is? We sort of put this card in our hand. It's a lot like drawing a card, but it isn't for the sake of Shieldred. So, Justin here, going to be able to get out from underneath Shieldred. It's going to take 2 damage here from the Apocalypse trigger as long as DJ remembers it. And we're going to see Justin, if Justin has a double spell turn, this could be huge. We could flip back over the Brutal Cathar. We could get this Shieldred out from underneath us. And then we just have to answer the Questing Beast eventually. Looks like Justin is thinking. Looks like both players are just making sure that they have their life totals correct. And looks like he's tanking on, maybe he wants to attack. He might have a card like Eiganjo, Steel the Emperor. We see one of those in play. He could very easily attack there and then block. Dom is coming back to us now. He was just reconnecting here to fix his mic. And it looks like Thalen Mirrorbreaker is going to copy. We can't copy a Questing Beast. It's a legendary creature. Looks like we caught that one. All right, we're going to copy the Fable and then get the Fable token in the way. And it looks like we're tapping a bunch of mana. 3 of it, and now we're going to play Adeline post-combat. Okay, we had no tricks going on, and looks like we're not going to flip right now as we have some card in hand. It wasn't a land. I think it was a land. We would have played it. So Justin doing that here, probably hoping that, he can maybe get DJ to plus instead of minus to kill the board if it is a land. DJ does have a lay on the veil, so there's some amount of stuff going on. And let's say stuff plays going on. DJ here with his 2 mountains and a forest. And that's a Sulfur Spring. We are going to see a tick up for the Liliana and a discard. It was an Eiganjo. Yeah, so Justin was trying to get in there, if maybe some double blocks happen or whatever, he could have killed them and to get a big blowout. So didn't have it, but had a big sort of side there. Looks like it was a Plains. And now Justin's got to figure out, okay, do I want to activate this Recruitment Officer now? Do I want to do it later? What do I want to do? We are sort of under the gun from the Shieldred, but if we hit a 3-drop, we won't be able to play it. Looking at our top 4, looks like we found Thalia again. Thalia is going to be super great for making it so Justin can't triple spell with no cards in hand, but on this board, not the greatest. And it looks like Justin's just going to pass the turn, doesn't have any sort of tricks this time, doesn't want to risk combat. We are going to see a Fabled Mirrorbreaker activation at the end of turn. Sort of lets you do this for free here. Now you have another Goblin Shaman. You can attack in with that, not really lose very much, and bank a treasure, for the future. You might have a turn where you have to cycle a couple Triomes or whatever. Good technical play here from DJ. As we see, Blood Tithe Harvester comes down, and that's a big card to Fable the Mirrorbreaker. If you've played any format recently, you've sort of seen this interaction where DJ is going to be able to activate Fable, copy the Blood Tithe Harvester, get another blood, and then minus on something. Now we're seeing a Lily on the Veil minus from DJ here. Justin's going to sacrifice his Dauntless Bodyguard. Looks like he's going to wait on the Blood Tithe Harvester. No real need to do it yet. Can always make a chump blocker with the Fable. Decide not to attack with the Goblin Shaman token. Would have got a treasure, but not the end of the world. As we're going to see Thalia Lieutenant come on down and bulk up the team. as we do see, making sure sort of what happens here. And the Brutal Cathar does not get a trigger. We're going to activate Fable. And we're making another Blood Tithe Harvester. I think DJ's forgotten that Blood Tithe Harvester can only be activated at sorcery speed. But, you know, not the end of the world. DJ's going to get a blood token for his troubles. And Justin taking a big think. You see DJ's like, okay, like I've got this huge board. My opponent has this huge board. I'm so close to winning with Shieldred the Apocalypse. I just need to eke out a little bit longer. And now we have this Fable plus Blood Tithe Harvester combo that can activate. Yep. So now on this turn, we can start seeing. Also, DJ at so much life. You know, up into the 22 range. Not going to have any problems here. Going to activate Fable. Going to target Blood Tithe Harvester. And then it looks like we're going to minus on that Brutal Cathar that's been flipped. And that means we're going to get back this Glissa Sunslayer. And that makes it really, really hard here for Justin to ever attack. As we are just going to see the Lily on the Veil minus Edict away. Something looks like Thalia's Lieutenant is going to take the hit. And we're going to activate a Recruitment Officer and get a Coppercoat Vanguard. And this is just sort of one of the big problems with the mono white deck. You know, in some matchups, it can get sort of started on board and doesn't have the catch-up tools. And this is why you saw players have cards like Brave the Elements in the past, not only to beat decks like mono green, where, you know, the board gets clogged up in this sort of situation, but also give you some free wins in matchups like Rakdos, where maybe the board gets kind of clogged. Now, in this case, a card like Brave the Elements wouldn't be very good. We have a bunch of colors, and Justin's had enough. He's going to go have some fun with his friends between rounds. He's going to pack up his cards here. We're going back to the booth. We have to let Dom in from the backstage here. He was sort of hopefully fixing his microphone and internet there for a second. But you're going to just have to deal with my beautiful face. You know, we have the void of Dom, what used to be over here to my right. But with an exciting round as Jund to mid-range. Looks like we didn't realize that Dom was gone there, and so we didn't let him in from the backstage, but I'm sure they'll let him in just a second. And with all that going on, we had an exciting round here with some exciting stuff. And this is one of the cool things about Pioneer. You know, there are a lot of established decks, a lot of good things sort of found, like Rakdos and Mono Green and Greasefang. But there are other decks that, you know, you can sort of play. And we saw DJ here play Jund and was able to, you know, take down a solid deck in the format in a matchup that, you know, looked to be maybe a challenging with all his topping features, was able to stabilize here, as it does look like Dom is going to be back here in just 1 second from the backstage. But yeah, we're going to go to break here. The round is over. We're about 2 minutes over anyway, so we're going to be back in about 5 minutes. So sit down, relax. We'll see y'all for some more Magic in round number 3 from St. Paul.